What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back with week 4, buy low, sell high. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you guys have any questions or comments, just drop them in the comment section down below. Reason to hit that subscribe button, we give you that edge over those friends and family in your other fantasy football leagues to bring home that championship this season. And after all, that's what it's all about. If you guys have any fantasy questions, you just put them in the comment section down below. I answer every single one. So new trade advice, start sit advice, whatever it may be, I got you guys. We got a fantasy hotline to give you that edge over your league mates, as well as waivers, weekly rankings, buy low, sell highs every single week to give you all the information in a condensed format to stay one step ahead of everyone else. All right, let's dive into this, though. All right, I've got 2 sell high candidates for you guys right now. I almost typed in sell high in there. That's not a good sign. All right, first one is J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to continue to score fantasy points at a pretty high rate, to be honest with you. But the thing is, I do think he's going to trail off over the second half of the season. I think R.J. Harvey is going to get more involved. If we were seeing, 19 carries in some of these games, I might be a little bit more optimistic. Part of that has been the game flow for some of these games as well, though. This should be a smash matchup against Cincinnati, so maybe if you wanted to wait one more week on him, I don't think it's a bad idea. Have him come out there, post another double-digit, potentially season-high performance on the year is what I would project. I think he's probably going for 20-plus in this next one. So if you want to hang on to him for one more week, try to flip him before he plays the Philly and the Jets, Giants, Dallas. It's really not that tough of a stretch even. But like I said, I just expect the rookie to get more involved as the season goes on. I think you can sell him. Let's see. He's RB10 right now. The running back landscape is tough. I think you guys go out there and get an absolute buy a little bit low and maybe a Chuba Hubbard if you can get that opportunity. Go out there and trade him for a big-time wide receiver. And upgrade that position if you've got some running back depth right now. I know it's tough in the streets for a lot of people, so that's not many of you, but that's one of the options. And one of my biggest sell highs right now is definitely J.K. Dobbins, just because I think you can get a lot for him coming off a great season for fantasy last year and the production that he's had so far this year. Next up is Dalton Kincaid. Again, I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be a lot better than he was last year. This isn't that I hate Dalton Kincaid, but he's a tight end 3 right now, coming off a monster performance against the Miami Dolphins. But the target volume isn't crazy here. We saw even more targets probably at the beginning of last year than we are right now. And again, he looks a lot better as a player. He looks better on the field. He's attached to a great quarterback. Don't think Dalton Kincaid's not going to be a top 12 fantasy tight end, but if I have the opportunity to sell him top 3 right now and go out and maybe take Dalton Kincaid another piece and go out there and get a TreVeyon Henderson, who we're about to talk about in our buy lows, would love to do something like that. If I could take Kincaid to sell him to the George Kittle owner right now, who's 0-1 or 0-3, 1-2. Absolutely, go do that. Buy some time with your tight ends for a week or two. Get George Kittle back. You have a massive positional advantage over your roster, and you're selling Dalton Kincaid, right now as that positional advantage to other people. So that's how you're going to get them to pay a higher price. But I like both of those deals a lot. I just mentioned him, so we're going to bring him up. TreVeyon Henderson. This is a little narrative-y, but he was the first one to do the drills. Typically, they have the starter go through all the passing drills and stuff in practice first. So that does bode well for him, potentially, having a bigger workload this week. 3 fumbles last week between Ramondre Stevenson, who had 2, Antonio Gibson, who had 1. Ramondre's had fumbling problems throughout his whole career, especially his last year and now this year. 7 fumbles last year. So he got 3 already this year. Antonio Gibson struggled with fumbles historically as well. I think TreVeyon Henderson's in for his biggest workload of the week. He had 14 touches last week. He's in a great matchup against Carolina. I think you buy this guy right before he pops. You might have an RB2 the rest of the way of the season. And like I said, these running back landscape right now is tough on people. So he's a guy I would go out and buy. He's projected for 6 points on ESPN and half point. There's owners out there that will trade him for almost nothing. And I'm willing to pay even the going rate right now. Next up, another guy who's made a massive jump, Matthew Golden. Ran 86% of the team's routes on passing plays last week. That's a massive jump for him. Led the team in receiving yards this last week and opportunities. I buy into Matthew Golden. He was very close to a long touchdown as well. Kind of ran out of bounds on that one. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe didn't know where he was. I don't know what was going on. Maybe his just momentum was taking him more out of bounds than it seemed like. But in this matchup against Dallas, I think he's about to go for a really big one. We've seen Russell Wilson throw for 450 on them in some monster games with his involvement in this Green Bay Packers offense and how formidable them and Jordan Love have looked. And Matthew Golden himself has looked good as a player. He's had some near misses. I expect him to be about to take off for fantasy football. Another guy I would definitely go out there and try to acquire while I can. This is another one, Ladd McConkey. I am much higher, I think, on him than a lot of people right now. I was much higher on Keenan Allen coming in, but now I feel like everything is flipped. 9 targets, 5 targets, 7 targets. He's still pretty darn involved, playing more snaps than Keenan Allen. And yeah, he's still a really good player. He's a good young player who's ascending, who's explosive, can run good routes. Justin Herbert's throwing the ball a lot. He just happens to have been the least productive member of this receiving core so far, but I don't project it to be that way moving forward. I said all 3 to be viable fantasy options regardless. So Ladd's a guy I would go out there and try to acquire as well, based on his position and just his slow start that he's gotten off to. This next one might come as a surprise, but it's Cam Scatabo. I'm very high on Scatabo rest of season. When I was grading my running backs coming into the year on a talent basis, Ashton Jeanty was 1, Cam Scatabo was 2. He was ahead of Ryan Hampton, he was ahead of Judkins, he was ahead of TreVeyon Henderson, all of those other guys. He jumps off the tape. He's not just a bowling ball of a back. He's got good feet. He's good in the passing game. He can do a lot of really good things for you. And look at this fantasy production he's had last week against KC. 10 carries, 60 yards, a touchdown, 6 for 61. Oh, and Tyrone Tracy is gone now. I expect these carry numbers to balloon to 15 to 20 a game, him to continue to be involved in the passing game. I think he's a great player, and I think Jackson Dart overall is a boost for the offense, and especially the emphasis that will be placed on the run game with a rookie quarterback entering. They also got Andrew Thomas back, their left tackle. A lot of their offensive production goes up with Andrew Thomas, and their other tackle played pretty well last week. So I expect awesome things for Cam Scatabo, even though he's already performed well this season, and you're going to pay a certain price for him. Ashton Jeanty, this one again, I'm not buying in super high, but if I can go scoop him for, who would be, is it J.K. Dobbins, maybe? I would do that. I would go and bet. He's getting a ton of volume. He's had a lot of forced tackles even on his own. He is literally getting hit before every running back in football earlier. He's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage on average so far. That's abysmal. His offensive line is bad, but things cannot stay this bad with this volume, this talented of a player. Things are bound to get better. And yeah, we had really high expectations for him coming into the year. He's still a talented guy. It just wasn't a good situation. The Raiders were 32nd in rushing yards last year. You put a rookie running back into that situation, no matter how good he is, you have to levy your expectations a little bit. But he's still a guy I believe in. I think he's going to, have a much better rest of season ahead of him. I think there's going to be some dud games in there for sure, but there's going to be enough volume in some of these games, and he's got enough talent that he is going to make it happen. Yeah, I would only buy low on Jeanty if I can get him pretty low because I'm not going to pay top 10 running back prices. But I think you could pay like RB20 prices right now in some leagues or an RB15 price. That might be a little rich for me, but you can go out there and do that and get him, and I think it's going to be a really valuable resource for you later in the season. But yeah, just to go over, my sell highs, J.K. Dobbins, Dalton Kincaid, and then my buy lows, we got Matthew Golden, TreVeyon Henderson, Ladd McConkey, Cam Scatabo, and Ashton Jeanty. If you guys are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go. If you have any questions or comments, want some trade advice, who should I trade for? One of these guys, drop in the comment section down below. I got you guys. That's why you hit that subscribe button, that customizable fantasy advice, that fantasy hotline that is our comment section. Don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to win that championship this year. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get it. This has been Fantasy Joe. As always, thank you guys for watching.